Good morning and welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Librarian.
Good morning.
Good morning. Today is Monday, May 11th. Happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day.
Yes, indeed.
We're glad you guys came. Um, Normally, this year we've been bringing out companies to come and introduce themselves to the community, but the library system has a very packed summer for you guys, so I kind of want to just let you know what that was about. Y'all cool with that?
Let's do that.
Okay, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for summer reading. Yay! And as you know, our branches every year do a summer reading kickoff party. And we have 6 branches, so that means we have 6 times for you to get out into the community and celebrate summer reading with us. And the first day would be on May 14th at our Morrow branch. And that is from 3 to 4. Look, I had to read it because it's way too many. I had to. So it's 3 to 4:30. Then our next day will be on May 21st at Riverdale, and that will be from 4 to 6. Then we got Forest Park, headquarters, and Lovejoy all on May 26th. Now, if you follow us very closely, you know that on May 19th, that was the original day for Forest Park. But guess what? It is early voting right now, and May 19th is an actual voting day. So if you're a registered voter in Clayton County, get out and vote. Okay?
Say it again
Okay.
Yes.
One more time. One more time.
One more
For the one in the
time.
back.
for the ones in
If you're a Clayton County resident, and this is actually is voting throughout the state of Georgia, but here in Clayton County, we want to focus on us. If you're a registered voter here in Clayton County, please go out and vote. You have until the 15th of May to vote early, and on May 19th, that's the last day to vote. So from May 15th is the last day for early voting. So May 16th, 17th, and 18th, no voting. May 19th, voting. Okay, we got it?
Got it.
Good. So Forest Park changed their date to May 26th. So again, you have Forest Park on May 26th, headquarters on May 26th, and Lovejoy on May 26th. So you can really hit every corner of the county. Boom, boom, boom. Forest Park will be from 2:30 to 4:30. Headquarters is from 4 to 6, and Lovejoy is from 12 to 4. You know, we might be able to make all of these. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just. And then, last but not least, we have Northwest, which is the other Riverdale, not the real Riverdale, the Northwest Riverdale. We have that one on June 2nd because y'all calling, y'all be like, I'm at the Riverdale branch. No, you at Northwest. Okay, we got 2. So that's on June 2nd from 3 to 5. Okay? Now, we're not finished. Hold on. Wait, sorry. I'm
You
coming.
need the whole time?
Yeah, actually. Can you hold that? All right. Now, as you all know, we love to help our community. And the way we're helping you guys this summer is we're having lunchtime Monday through Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're having starting on May 26th.
That's my birthday.
Happy birthday, girl.
May 26th, yeah.
Look, we celebrating you all day at all the branches. So on May 26th through August 1st, you can come into the library at 12 p.m. And this is for children from ages newborn to 18, right? 18, 17, 18? Okay.
They have to be able to choose, so we don't say newborn, because they actually have to be able to choose.
Okay, so toddler to 18. You can come out and you can get a free lunch, and that's from 12 to 2. And then from 2:15 to 3:15, you get a snack. Boom. You get lunch and snack. Okay? At any of our branches, all 6 of them. Okay?
And what's the best detail of that?
Which one? Oh, it's free. I got you. It's free. It don't cost you a thing. Oh, wait. Hold on. Excuse me. Okay. So I got a phone call over the weekend. True story. Phone call over the weekend. They said, yeah, my church members want to know when is Vision to Learn coming. I didn't know y'all gave out free glasses. We do not. However, we do partner with an organization called Vision to Learn, and Vision to Learn will allow you to get your child's eye exam and glasses for free. So come into our branches. You have to scan this QR code right here. Scan that can y'all hear me? Scan that QR code right there and pick an appointment date. Bring your child. They'll get their eye exam, and if they need glasses, you'll be notified. And in about 6 weeks before school starts, boom, glasses.
Boom.
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 Boom. This is a partnership that we've had in existence for a little while. So
Yeah.
again, this is a wonderful service that we could offer to the community. So
Yes. And I think this is like year 5. I
great.
think this is year 5.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I take full advantage. Not for myself, not for myself, not for me, not for me.
Not for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, also throughout the county, here at the library, we got a grant, 250, America 250. As you all know, the United States is turning 250 years old this year. I believe the date is July 4th. That's their birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Mhm.
Coming up.
Okay. So they turned 250, and we want our teens in the community to support that. Like, yeah, hey, we got some stuff for y'all. So they can submit an art project, and it has to be on a canvas, a poster board, or a foam board. And we're actually giving you the foam boards for free. So you can go to any of our branches and get foam board for your project. But you submit your artwork, we're going to have people vote on it. Not anybody from the library, the community will vote on your work, and then you win a prize.
Awesome.
Very nice.
So we want to support the artists in you. Yeah, so we have 2 different sets. That is middle school age. We'll have 3 winners for that, and high school will also have 3 winners. So yay for that. Oh, thank you. Yeah. We also have Lieutenant Conversation Mother's Day Brunch. That will be on May 23rd. We ask that you register for that event. It's going to start at 11 sharp on May 23rd. And guess what we're going to do?
What we gonna do?
Mommy and Me charcuterie boards.
How about that?
Okay.
We're reading the book Mama by Terry McMillan, which a lot of y'all forgot she wrote. So read that book. Join us for Lieutenant Conversations, and you can do a Mommy and Me charcuterie board.
How about that?
Oh, with the host, me, and then Kim Smothers.
There you go.
Hey, Kim Smothers. And my last announcement is on May 20th. Okay, so our kids are getting ready to go to college, so all college-age students, we're going to teach you how to make cookies in a skillet from scratch.
Mm.
That's on May 20th. Okay? You also have to register for that one. That's it. That's all I got.
That's
all
it?
yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is.
Oh, it was? Because I had some more in my office, if you want me to.
Next time.
Okay.
We'll say that one next time.
Well, as you know, this is our hostess with the mostest, Director Scott Parham.
Good morning. Good
Oh,
morning.
do I need to say Director of the Year still? Director of the Year still?
I'll take it. I'll take it. Good morning. How's everyone?
Good morning.
Wonderful seeing you all. Wonderful seeing you all. For those of you tuning in online, I'll see you next time in the house. But I'm Scott Parham, the director for your Clayton County Library System. And as you've been tuning in, as you're very well aware, we bring folks in, we have a conversation, and they share with us the things that are going on in the community or in their space that affects and or could benefit our community. And so today is no different, and I am delighted to have with us today State Senator Ms. Kenya Wicks. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Good. We're gonna jump right into
Oh,
it.
well, let's jump on into it then.
So tell us about you, a little bit about your background, and we'll kind of get caught up to speed on some other questions. But let's start there.
All right. So I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky,
Okay.
the Bluegrass State. I'm a 30-year Army veteran. There's only one branch of the Army, of course. That's what I'm talking about. I have 3 sons, all HBCU grads,
Yeah, very nice.
and that's about it with me. I have a golden doodle too.
You got a doodle?
I have a
his
golden
name?
doodle.
What's the doodle's name?
His name is Major, and of course, I retired as a major, and I thought I was going to be retired, so I got a golden doodle, and I named him Major.
So you
So
thought you were just gonna hang out
I
at the
thought I
house
was.
and just
I thought I was. And then, and just on a humbug, I met my predecessor, the Honorable Senator C.
okay.
And if anyone knows her, she is a breath of fresh air. And she just walked up into me. She's like, "What are y'all doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm celebrating my retirement." And she was like, "Retirement?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she wanted to pay me homage. But then I was like, as an Army officer, I was like, "You a state senator, I need to pay you homage,"
Right.
because this is how Army officers are. And she brought me down and showed me around the Capitol, and then she volunteered me to to be her chief of staff. So I became her chief of staff, and then she announced her retirement. Um, but I had already been working in the community because, as a CASA, which is a
Sure.
court-appointed advocate for foster care children, and I take that very seriously because just being a voice for foster care means a lot to me. And then she announced her retirement, and then I was volunteered again
Mhm.
to run for her seat. And then I was like, "Well, I don't know anything about politics," but she also stated that I know how to treat people. Being raised by my grandmother taught me to treat people the way I want that you want to be treated in return, and then that's how the journey began.
Nice, very nice. And I'm gonna jump ahead. What's the biggest thing that you've learned from being in politics?
The biggest thing I've learned is that people just want to be heard.
Okay.
People just want to literally be heard.
Okay. We're gonna. What are some of the top three priorities that you're currently working on?
So my top three priorities are our seniors, our veterans, and the working class families.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about each area of
Yes.
interest?
So I'll start with our working class family. Did you know right now that minimum wage is $5.15?
I did.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes.
Well, but a lot of the community didn't know that. And $5.15 for the last 20 years. My son was born. He graduated high school. He graduated college, and it's still $5.15. I introduced a bill just to raise minimum wage to meet the citizens where they are. And of course, it wasn't, it was introduced, but it didn't get any traction. And I reintroduced it next year.
Okay.
But just the working class family, not all kids, especially our next generation, not all kids want to go to college.
Mhm.
So just internships, entrepreneurships, trade, technical colleges. That's something that I foster and champion because what is the way ahead for the next generation?
Right.
So that's something that I champion. And then the working class family, just meeting childcare. Some childcares is more than the mortgage. So what is the way ahead for the working class family? Affordability. What's affordable for me may not be affordable for you. So what is affordability? So that's another thing. Medicaid expansion. Do you know that we're one of 10 states that has not fully approved a Medicaid expansion? And that goes into our seniors. Medicaid expansion is what our seniors need for the insurance, due to the fact that I was raised by my grandmother. So our seniors have lived their life. They have set the platform for the way ahead. They should be living their golden years. I go to Frank Bailey and, play bingo with our seniors, see them, and do that. And even, going to the other senior centers, playing cards, and just seeing the joy that they have, but then seeing the rack of the insurance that they have, or even when we talk about that, you have they're on a fixed income, but then when it comes to their rent and stuff like that, when they go to renew their lease, their rent goes up an additional $100, additional $50. But why is that when they're already on a fixed income? So those are the challenges that I see on a daily basis, or those are the concerns that I get back from the community.
Okay. And you also mentioned veterans. Can you
Okay.
touch on that a little bit?
Well, first of all, veterans is the core of me. Being a 30-year Army veteran and even injured in combat, it is imperative to me, especially for mental health, PTSD. But we have over 700,000 veterans, and everybody wants to run on the platform of veterans or, the healthcare veterans, or of course we have the PACT Act or whatever. But I introduced two veterans bills, and I will not dumb it down my veterans bills to suffice and put them into another bill for them to pass. These bipartisan bills should be able to stand on their own and get passed. And then also, I introduced a bill, Senate Bill 190, where for our disabled veterans and Gold Star families, for them to enter into historical and recreational parks for free. And last year, only 300 veterans used this discounted. It was at a discounted rate, $11,000, and this was a bipartisan bill, and it didn't even pass. That's the least that they could do for our veterans. Somebody that raised their right hand and gave the oath for to sacrifice their life for our country. And that's why I just continue to explain that all wounds are not visible. So when people have, illnesses and go to the doctor and all that for our veterans. So I will continue to be the champion for our veterans.
Very nice. Very powerful. Thank you. Um, if I can take a step back for a second, we talked about the working class families, and if we can talk a little bit about workforce development.
Mhm.
Are there any efforts here in the county focused on workforce development that you're involved in or would like to be involved in?
Yes, and we talk about affordability or workforce development. I've partnered up with Clayton County Chamber of Commerce. I've partnered up with Georgia Power and different efforts to do affordability resource fairs, and also um, did workforce development, fairs in reference to the way ahead, what their structure looks like. So this was the second year for our career fair in reference to our children once they graduate. We had over 500 children that didn't know what they wanted to do after high school. So it's entering into it shouldn't start at high school. It should start in middle school or even earlier than that in reference to the STEM program, in reference to integrating workforce development, pipelines of workforce, real jobs in reference to what it looks like, hospitality, even healthcare, putting those resources into the schools and being a champion and going from there. So of course I have, dialogue with Dr. Hendricks, or even before Dr. Hendricks, having dialogue with Dr. Smith, and even the ROTC program, making sure that we have those resources, or what can I do to champion and use my voice at the state level to give the resources back into the county.
Great. And I'm gonna back all the way up to where we were talking about minimum wage.
Mhm, mhm.
And not to put you on the spot, but put you on the spot. What do you think is the holdup, or why wasn't the bill even able to be moved? To me, it seems like a no-brainer. I keep hearing that the state has a surplus of billions and billions of dollars, but yet we can't raise the minimum wage and haven't raised it in the last, as you said, 10, 15 some odd years.
Actually, 20 years.
20 years. So under the Gold Dome, what are some of the conversations you're hearing as to why it can't get moved, or why folks are reluctant to raise the minimum wage?
I just think for me, it's just having those public and private partnerships where we can come on one accord. My philosophy is people over policy. And that's how, and I will continue to say that the way that my grandmother taught me is to treat people the way you want to be treated, regardless on what district you have. You have to look at the whole totality that you treat people the way you be treated, and everybody needs something. And you be a champion for your whole district, regardless if you in Metro Atlanta or if you're in Warner Robins or in the rural community. We are voting for the whole state of Georgia. And I'm not just voting for District 34, I'm voting for the whole state of Georgia. So not only am I voting for, not am I looking for Riverdale, Forest Park, a little bit of Jonesboro, a little bit of Morrow, a little bit of Fayetteville. I have to look at and vote for the whole state of Georgia. And sometimes people look at through a microscope and only look at their district versus looking at and having conversations with, people from Foresight and not saying, hey, Senator Wicks, what does Clayton County need? Hey, Senator Wicks, what does this area need? Instead of just looking at a microscope at their own district.
Okay. And I'm sure at some level, all districts have similar needs.
Correct.
Okay. We talked a little bit about affordability. We
Yes.
also talked about workforce development. Can we talk a little bit about transportation
Correct.
and how that affects everything? Because if you can't get to the job, of course, you're not going to have a job. But you need a job in order to pay for your housing. And so it's cyclical. But again, what are some things maybe that you're working on that may address better transportation in the county?
This is basically when you have, like I said, go back to that public and private partnership, working with MARTA, working with the commissioners and working with the board of commissioners, is having that dialogue, skimming down to just it just comes down to communication. I kind of like stay in my lane, but make sure that I have working relationships across the board with everybody.
Okay, good. How can we get young folks more involved? Get our youth involved?
Getting our youth involved. With me, this will be my second year doing it. I do student to student forums,
Okay.
where like last year I partnered up and brought 50 students down to the Capitol. And we started from start to finish on how a bill was formed, developed, introduced, and went through the whole process. And whoever had the best bill, I introduced it last legislative session. So the bill that I introduced was Senate Bill 490, which was a student mental health day,
Okay.
which would give a student 3 excused absence for mental health. Because like I said, mental health is very important to me. Of course, it didn't get any traction, which I'm going to tweak it this next legislative year. And I'm going to get some support from the community. I've talked to some school superintendents. I even talked to some principals to get some weigh in on what would be the best course of action to introduce mental health for our students, anti-bullying for our students, because I think we need to do a deeper dive on mental health for our students, because of course the situation where the female had a fight, and then a couple of days later she passed away. That is a mental health / anti-bullying right there. And then of course the situation where the young guy, went missing for a week, and then so there's a lot of mental health that we need to address with the tabletop conversation. So again, bringing the students for the second annual student to student forum, and then I partner up with Rep Bell and different legislators, and then also just last week I partnered up with another school and got the students involved in reference to our veterans, and we did about 250 shoe boxes of hygiene kits for our veterans. So there's different ways to get our young individuals involved. But the biggest thing that I have seen for our students and our young individuals is that they feel that their voices is not heard, and they feel that that we don't take in accountability their voices. So the best thing that I can do is meet the young individuals where they are, like going to the community. We go to Monday's Meal, and we have food distribution. And while I'm there, I talk to them. Like this morning, I had donuts and discussion where you go and you meet these the young generation, and then I go into barbershops, and we have dialogues in the barbershops, and just have general conversation. You know, because young individuals just want to be trusted, and trust, when you build trust in the community, then it's like, okay, they're more receptive of opening up and having better dialogue.
Very nice. There's another piece of legislation that you also worked on involving Narcan.
Yes.
Would you like to talk about that one a little bit?
Yes. So with me, I lost two. I lost two of my cousins to opioid addiction.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes. So when the original bill was the Wesley's Law,
Okay.
and so basically, what Wesley's Law is for Narcan in public places. So which was Senator Clint Dixon's bill. So I went to Clint Dixon and asked him, can I just amend the bill a little bit and add some additional resources in that bill? So I work with Georgia Recovery Bus, which goes around the state and talk about recovery and everything like that. So of course, Senator Clint Dixon said yes, of course. And so the Senate Bill 450 is basically adding Narcan to libraries. Basically, everybody was super excited about the bill, and everybody was receptive of the bill except one library, which was fine. I didn't get any traction off that bill, but I will go back and reintroduce that bill, because in public places, Narcan should be accessible anywhere, because you never know where an incident's going to happen.
Right.
And libraries are easy accessible, and as your colleague stated, y'all have so many things that happen in libraries. Y'all have so many resources where I know back in the days when I was growing up, it took forever to just find one thing, because you go through library cards, and you have to, it's just so much stuff. Y'all have so many resources that, it's like, wow, this is what we can do. And then also, this is a safe haven for people that don't have resources, that they could come and get shelter. They can come and get free resources and food, and can get, help. So if somebody was to, have an episode, that they should be able to have Narcan accessible here in the library.
Very true.
Yeah.
And you and I spoke as you were developing that legislation, and I know for library staff, it's a little scary.
Right.
And I'm sure for anyone, it's a little frightening to encounter someone who is overdosing, and then what do you do next?
Right.
And so we've undergone some training throughout the county, and I think the county also has made it mandatory that all county staff have to undergo Narcan training.
Correct.
So because you never know when and where it may happen.
Yes, sir.
So again, thank you for working on that.
Yes, sir.
Pivoting a little bit, but kind of in that same lane here. You've gone on record to say that mental health should be central to public safety and community well-being. What is the connection that you feel between mental health support and safer communities?
As I stated before, mental health is just a table talk conversation. I know that, I've had several calls in reference to individuals being taken to jail versus getting the resources and help that they need. Some of our citizens been apprehended, sat in jail for a couple of days without the representation that they need in reference to being, instead of going to jail, going to the VA hospital. So that's why I said I want to continue to be that voice, that that we should be able to get the resources that we need. Now, speaking of that, we did vote in our budget $300 million for a mental health hospital. So I will continue to use my voice when it comes to mental health. Not only just for veterans. It's not, PTSD is not just for veterans. PTSD is for anybody that's going through trauma. So I want to make sure that and it is a bipartisan thing. It's not a D or an R or independent thing. It is an individual that has been faced with trauma. So I do have bipartisan support in reference to that. And I have people that want to champion that. But I want to make sure that our schools, get the resources that they need in reference to the mental health, i.e., more counselors, more psychiatrists, whatever the resources that our schools need, because our children are our future, and I want to make sure that we do have that.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. What role do you think the state should play in supporting public libraries and educational programs?
I think we should play a big role, but I know that Senate Bill 73 or 74, I think it's
74.
74, is very harmful, and I definitely did not support that, and I will continue to use my platform in reference to advocating against that bill. And that's why you and I have a great relationship, along with some of your other staff. And I'm always a phone call away when it comes to and if those that don't know about Senate Bill 74, that bill right there is that librarians and librarian staff could be criminally charged in reference to some of the
Determining it harmful materials
Right.
get in the hands of youth.
Mhm.
And yes, it is a very disturbing piece of legislation.
Correct.
Because it is totally against anything and everything that librarians do.
Right.
And so making it a criminal offense for some, and I'm going to say random body of people to decide what's harmful to his child versus that other person's child. We all have our own households that we were raised in, and we raise our families a certain way on certain beliefs and values. But the bill, in my opinion, was harmful in that it's forcing, again, this abstract body of people to
Correct.
make that call or to make that decision on your behalf or on my behalf. And
Yep.
so it's kind of crazy, but it's not unusual, and we just have to keep fighting the good fight because other bills will come. I was recently at a conference in Chicago, and the Secretary of State there mentioned he passed legislation for the state of Illinois. They cannot have any book bans. It is illegal to have a book ban in the state of Illinois. That would be wonderful to have, again, something like that here in Georgia. So, but again, it's going to take some work, and it's going to take some work for people to understand and realize the impact that we make in the communities that we serve.
Correct.
So,
Mhm.
wonderful. I'm wrapping up here with my questions, so I got a couple more, if that's okay. And if there's anything else that you would like to share, more than happy for that.
Okay.
Okay. What do you enjoy the most about serving your community and serving in your capacity as senator?
I like the people.
Okay.
I love just to interact. My son said, "Mama, you talk to everybody. Every time I look at you, just talking. And I love everybody said, I don't know how you do it. Every time I look up, you somewhere else. You could be here 1 minute, next minute you're gone, next minute you're here. I just love just to interact. And then I am a woman of faith, and now I know that God had prepared me for this position. So if I can just encourage one person, just a word of encouragement, or just anything. I just love interacting with people. So regardless on the outcome, I know that I was prepared for this. My 30 years of military experience, I know now that I was prepared for this.
Nice.
Yep.
And what is the best way for constituents to reach you and or provide feedback that may help guide some of your policy decisions or legislation in the future?
Okay, so two ways. So one, a lot of people, so like today when I went to donuts and discussion, right? So a lot of people don't know, like, if you have a concern or an issue, because the constituents y'all are my bosses.
Right.
Like y'all voted me in for a reason, for me to be the voice. So everybody can reach me, of course, at my Senate email, or my Senate, or do a constituent concern. Even though it might not be at my level, I will, redirect it or whatever, right? But also, Kenya for Georgia. If they go to my website, Kenya for Georgia, they can sign up for my newsletter. I put out a newsletter every 2 weeks, and they go to Kenya for Georgia. The first thing that pops up is sign up for my newsletter. Every 2 weeks, I put out a newsletter. I put out, so at the Senate Press, I do an updated video, because I found out now that people love videos, that they don't have time to read. I think their attention span is like gone. So every 2 weeks, I put out a video. I do a newsletter every 2 weeks. And then Instagram. If you go on my Instagram, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I just can't keep up with her. She's just like everywhere. But all my social media is Kenya for Georgia. And then my information, my phone number, everything is, I am transparent. All my information is there. And if you contact me by email, or contact my Senate, you will get a reply. Because like I said before, I was voted in to serve the people. And that's what I do. I serve the people.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Kimberly, we will now open the floor for questions. Anyone has any questions for Senator?
Oh,
Hands are
Lord.
raised. They're going up. Like,
Oh, my
oh,
God.
it's a good thing.
We actually have some questions online. I want to grab those real quick.
Okay.
Okay. All right. First of all, Dr. Pridgen says, good morning. How
Good
are you?
morning,
Good
Taylor.
morning.
Thank you.
You touched on this a little bit already, but this patron would like to know, Dr. Pridgen would like to know, do you have proposed legislation already in process for mental health?
Yes. To her great question. And I do have Senate Bill 490 in reference for our students. It gives 3 excused absence for our students that's dealing with mental health. And it's not just, you can take a day off and that's it. You have to get the resources that you need. But also I'm trying to incorporate not only teachers and educators, but get feedback from superintendents and principals to try to and get bipartisan support to make sure that we continue to help our students with mental health and bullying. So, and it's going to be reintroduced next year. Yes.
That's a great idea, because I get my kids mental health dates. Just if they wake up and they don't look like they want to go, I'm like, all right, stay home.
Yeah.
I'll write an excuse. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
Okay. You had a question?
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you for your service. Good afternoon. I had the privilege of running into this beautiful lady here at Publix. Just a long story short, I began to talk to her that I have a nonprofit. I'm here in Clayton County. There was some issues with our orders, but nevertheless, we're here now. Okay. And so my question is, Senator, and you touched on a couple of things that has been a question in my mind in terms of becoming on one accord as a county. I am in Clayton County, I'm off of Tara. I do see the needs, and I try my very best to connect with others in the area. My nonprofit is Brown Box Blessings. And I've run into a lot of brick walls. There's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of pushing, call this person, call that person, call this person, call that person. But there's no real alignment for unity and cohesiveness to assist in our community. So a lot of the resources, when I host events, I come singly out of my pocket, which is, it's not a problem because I know that there's a need there. We do Mother's Day brunches. We also do ties for dads, and we also do, of course, the holiday giveaways with the Christmas gifts. And so my question is, and I heard you say that, we'll reach out to your office, we'll get back. Are there readily available resources available that I can personally connect? Because I don't mind getting behind you and running with those bills, because I think mental health is very, very important. I think depression is number one, and it's insurmountable in our families. I also agree that it is regarding how our values and how we're being raised in our households. So there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of misguidance, because we do a lot of social networking now. Opposed, when I was born in the 70s, my mother was like, "Go outside, ride your bike,"
Right.
Come in when the street lights came on,
Mhm.
and your neighbors could say, "Tanya was where she didn't need to be," and you got chastised. Well, it's different now.
Mhm.
So we have a lot of kids raising kids and making decisions with kids. So there are readily resources available. And again, I'm ready to do what I need to do. Coming, having a single parent raising 2 HBC graduates as well. What do I need to do to get more involved so that we can be cohesive in the Clayton County area, so we can reach everyone and not just per se in my area?
Mm. Well, that's definitely a good question. I mean, it goes back to, like I said, the public and private partnerships. Um, just communication. I'll talk to you offline and go from there, because you know, us collaborating together and making sure that we have a plan to facilitate the whole community is what we need. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, gatekeeping. We need to service everybody regardless. And the other day, I had a female that needed some resources and help. So this would have been a great, if I could pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can you help me?" That would have been, great. So I would definitely like to, partner you up with somebody else. So I definitely would like to talk to you offline. Okay.
And my suggestion would be to, if you don't already, come out to the Board of Commission meetings
Yeah.
so that you'll have an opportunity to speak with the representatives of all of the districts.
Mhm.
And hopefully that can, again, bridge,
Yeah.
bring some unity in some of these efforts.
So, because you said your business off of Tara Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I partnered with B. Marie, event space a lot.
Okay, yeah,
She's
yeah.
Very, very, very influential, and she's always on board. And she would direct me to different people to call, and I kind of get in like a brick wall. But I'm definitely strongly invested in interacting within my community and to help other in community in any capacity that I can.
Okay,
Thank you
yeah,
for
we'll
that.
talk offline.
Yes. What else? Hey, Ms. Kennedy.
Hi. I have 2 questions, if that's okay.
Oh, Lord, yes, ma'am.
First thing I want to say is roll tide.
Roll Tide. She looked me up. Don't be upset. Don't be upset. Don't be upset. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
I had to.
Three short dogs.
Yeah, I had to. So just really quickly, I thought it was really interesting, especially how you said your experience in the military kind of prepared you for this role. So my question was, with both military and legislative experience, what leadership lessons from the Army have translated most directly into policymaking?
That's a good question. Well, for me, I didn't know policy, because me being military, I'm very structured. That's number one. But I had to definitely maneuver. I keep using military words, jargon, because civilians are definitely totally different than military, totally different. And I would get so frustrated. It's like, we should be in a better space here. So I had to digress a lot, because I don't trust very well, because military, we like task condition is standard, but everybody is, and I take leadership, if you're the leader at the top, we should all fall in line, and that's what we need to do moving forward. But everybody is not like that. So for me, it's like, especially when it comes to policy, because me being at the Pentagon, me being at NATO, me being at a court level, I know how to write policy, but I did not know how to write legislation. But I do know how to follow instructions, and I do know how. And and it's okay to say you don't know. A lot of people are, intimidated by saying, I don't know, or intimidated like, hey, I need some help. I'm not too proud to say I don't know. I'm not too proud to say I need some help or need some guidance. But once you give it to me and I know, I'm on my path. But then also I know how to work collectively as a group. A lot of people want to. You was in the military? Okay. Well, a lot of people want to be spotlight rangers. A lot of people want to shine themselves and don't want it to be like, I'm gonna give the glory to you. I don't have to take the limelight because my glory and gratification come from up here. It doesn't come from, being, oh, look what I did, look what I did. I don't get that. You see what I'm saying? So it's about being humble and being grateful. So I hope that answered your question.
No, you did. I'm going to sneak in one more. So I'm interested on your kind of perspective and what you're seeing under the Gold Dome. So what issues affecting Clayton County do you think is currently under discussed at the state level?
I don't think it's one particular. Okay, yes, I do. It's House Bill 369. I want to make sure it's the right bill. Hold on.
Yes, what question?
Hold on 1 second, y'all. Make sure that's the right bill. So that bill is the bill in reference to the five district attorneys that affect. That bill affects the five district attorneys, and one of them being a um, DA Mosley, and that's the bill that we are, going to bat for and hoping that the governor doesn't sign it. Oh yeah, I said it right. House Bill 369. So that's the one that we need. We need everybody to call the governor to veto because it's only targeting the five district attorneys and one of them being so it's DA Mosley. Hold on, y'all. Make sure I got it right. But it's only affecting. So that's the one that's affecting Clayton County. So we need everybody to call because why are you targeting only the five Black females? So those are the things that we are championing for. So House Bill 369. So that's one thing. But then on the flip side, it's some positive stuff. Everything is not negative. So we signed a bill to increase the sheriff's to increase the sheriff's. We signed some local bills to increase the sheriff's pay because he was the lowest paid sheriff within the surrounding counties. We also signed a bill to increase the Solicitor General's pay because he was the lowest. Because he was the lowest paid solicitor within the district. So those are the type of things. So there's some different things that we're getting done and going from there. So everything is not always negative, but we just got to stay informed and make sure your voices are being heard and being proactive instead of reactive.
Good morning, afternoon.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's still morning.
That's on me.
Okay, good morning.
Hey,
Senator Kenya Wicks, when do you start your student program where you allow the youth to write their legislative bill?
We're gonna start that probably in July. I gotta get a break. Make sure you follow me, Kenya for Georgia. Y'all gonna see it on my social media.
Good morning. I don't know how much you can answer this, but in Clayton County, the Board of Commissioners is looking at trying to get more tax revenue out of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. But it's my understanding, because the FAA, a lot of the revenue taxes that money that they generate is supposed to be put back into the airport and its facilities. But I know that, as you were saying, the county, everybody's kind of struggling. It's getting tougher. And the county commissioners feel that we're not getting our fair share of revenue from the airport. So I don't know if there's anything that you've discussed with the county and how to improve that.
At this point, we're just going to continue to have conversations, not with the Board of Commissioners, the delegation, and with the airport, and just continue to foster that relationship.
I have nothing more to add, but thank you for the question.
Thank you for the question. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First of all, thank you, Senator Wicks, for the time that we met earlier in the year. That was very unexpected, but it speaks volume to how you stay committed to reaching into the community in an intimate fashion. So on behalf of the library system, we say thank you because we had to make that work that day. We had a lot going on. So I will admit I was a bit intimidated. I was telling Scott and Sharon, I said, I don't even know if I can do this meeting by myself. But you made it very, very comfortable, and I thank you for that. My question for you is along the lines of mental health, as some of the other questions have been. And I know that right now at the federal level, there are talks about banning or reducing the use of SSRIs, which are very, very important for a lot of veterans and individuals who deal with mental health issues. When you think about issues and kind of roadblocks that come along from the level above yours, how do you navigate making sure that your constituents in the state of Georgia are protected when you have things like that come trickle down?
Well, I mean, communication, it goes up and down. And so with Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff, and even with the congressional levels, they do come down and they do give us feedback up and down, and they do provide updates for us. And then also on their platform, they're instrumental in reference to their newsletters and stuff like that. So as I continue to say, that it works both ways. We have to, at a constituent level, sign up for their newsletters and things like that. But as a legislator, they do come down to our caucus, and they do provide updates and stuff. So yes. And Senator Ossoff, he's very engaged in reference to the veterans. And I am currently one of the military ambassadors in reference to making sure that the information flow is transmitted. And also he has approved a lot of our federal grants here in Clayton County, and that information has been facilitated out too. So yes.
Anything else?
I think that's the last question.
I think it's the last one. Well, I just want to say thank you, and thank you for being flexible. I know this isn't the first Monday of the month. Had a slight conflict last week, but again, thank you for your flexibility, being able to shift schedules and be here today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let's get a round of applause.
Do I get to keep my mug?
Absolutely, that's yours.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, it is. Indeed.
Thank you so much. I
Pleasure
appreciate
to have
it. Yes, sir.
as
Thank
well.
you.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Coffee with the Librarian. Stay tuned. You know how we do it. Next week is going to be another very interesting person to, again, come and talk to us about things that are available to the community. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.